Last night we told you about how Canada's government awarded more than 10 million Canadian dollars to Omar Khadr to make up for the terrible suffering he endured while imprisoned at Guantanamo Bay. After giving this man the money, the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau admitted he didn't even bother calling the widow of Christopher Speer. He's the Delta Force medic who was murdered by Khadr in 2002 in a grenade blast. Khadr himself, meanwhile, says he wishes everybody would just move on and forget what he did.
So this is a time for, reconciliation and hopefully not forgetting, but, moving on and healing. I was angry or upset about what happened, but it's been hard, finding jobs or going to school and stuff with my past reputation. So this is going to help me move forward.
Yeah, $10.5 million from Canadian taxpayers. That'll help you move forward. One man who can't move on quite so easily or seamlessly is Sergeant Lane Morris. He was blinded in one eye during the same firefight that killed Christopher Speer. Sergeant Morris joins us tonight. Sergeant, thanks a lot for coming on tonight. What do you make of this?
Thanks.
What's your response to this?
Oh, I think I've said this before. What kind of sick and twisted ivory tower do you have to live in as the Prime Minister of Canada to decide to award this man 10.5 million good, hardworking Canadian folks' dollars to equals justice? It makes no sense.
It doesn't, and I think it's more a statement about the decadence of the West than it is about the man who perpetrated this crime. This is almost a rhetorical question, but did the Prime Minister contact you before the settlement?
No, he did not. First I heard about it was when my phone started ringing from Canada. The former Prime Minister, Stephen Harper, contacted me to apologize on behalf of Canadians in general and the military folks up there, and I thought that was nice of him.
I don't think there's any evidence that most Canadians agree with this or are for it at all. Is that your sense?
It is, and that makes perfect sense. I don't think you've got to be Canadian or American to say, okay, there's a guy out there who killed a U.S. soldier, and now you're going to give him $10.5 million because he was lonely at Guantanamo, or he didn't have a shoulder to cry on. It's just how that balances out as justice is just beyond me and obviously Canadians. I think I've seen polls that 71% of Canadians are outraged by this action.
It's the definition of decadence. Tell us, if you would, and if it's too painful, don't, but about the day that all of this happened.
No, I don't. I have no problem talking about it, Tucker. We were after Omar Khadr's father, who was bin Laden's finance guy. The isolated compound we went to, his father was gone. Omar was there with 4 or 5 other guys. We surrounded that compound, myself and 4 other soldiers. We waited for 45 minutes. They wouldn't come out and talk to us. When we finally got the rest of my team there, as well as some Afghans that we were working with, when our interpreters went in to try and make contact, the guys inside that compound just popped up over a low rise inside the compound and executed them point blank, threw hand grenades at the rest of us. We shot 2 or 3 of them right there at the gate, and as the others ran to the back of the compound, throwing hand grenades as they went, I popped up to shoot a couple of guys with my rifle. It's got a 203, the grenade launcher on the bottom, and as I pulled the trigger on that grenade launcher, I felt something smack me in the right eye. Turns out a hand grenade they'd thrown I hadn't seen went off, and a piece of shrapnel hit me in the right eye.
And that ended your service career?
It did. I'm a shooter, and the military the Army would have let me stay in as a trainer or something like that. But having to shoot left-handed, I'd be a liability to an A team, and so I'd put in 21 years, and so I took my retirement and got out.
How bitter this must be for you, really. In addition to all of that, to watch the man who did it become rich and apparently unrepentant. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for you.
It is. It's bitter to see a man who and the Canadian government in particular, not just remain neutral in the matter. I mean, they went out of their way. Mr. Trudeau had to go out of his way to get Omar this money, to cut short any kind of negotiation, and just say, let's give him 10.5, make sure we get that done before the Americans have any chance of going after that money. To protect this man, that's really reopening a wound. I feel bad for Chris Spear's wife. She's a great lady, and it's got to be tough for her to see the Canadian government really open that wound. And I feel bad for Canadian military. I served over there with those guys, and they've got to be feeling pretty bad about their government rewarding a man who did his very best to kill them.
I mean, I'm sure Trudeau did this as an expression of hostility toward America, but he undermines his own society by doing it, and that's depressing. Sergeant Morris, thanks a lot for that.
And that's right. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me, Tucker.
Appreciate it. An article on Huffington Post challenged us to an immigration debate, and of course we couldn't turn that down. Up next, you'll meet the challenger. Stay tuned.